Coming up next on this YouTube exclusive edition of Impact Showdown Radio, yours truly, the Black Avenger Lee Sanders, covers the fallout from tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling as it returned live from Corpus Christi in Texas, where the main event match of the evening was the one and only TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bully Ray taking on the charismatic Enigma Jeff Hardy in a full metal mayhem match. It's the first time that we had got this type of match in a good amount of years, and the seventh full metal mayhem match. For those of you hardcore TNA wrestling fans that's keeping track, full fallout with my overall takeaway of tonight's episode. It's a special exclusive YouTube edition of Impact Showdown Radio, and it begins right now.
The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering weekly fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling Live as seen on Spike TV. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio with your host, Lee Sanders and Diamond K.
And we welcome you to this exclusive YouTube edition episode of Impact Showdown Radio. I am your host, the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank you so much for checking out this episode right now on April 11, 2013. We're 15 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour over here on the East Coast. Now, I got to set this up properly. Our YouTube audience, normally you guys get Impact Showdown Radio long after our live Blog Talk Radio audience gets it. But I just thought it'd be kind of cool to give you guys a little special treat. And on top of that, there was just a ton of crazy stuff that was just going on over here at my end, as originally this wasn't part of the plan. Originally, Impact Showdown Radio was supposed to go live on Blog Talk, but the powers that be, call it old man age, I had us coming on at 11 o'clock at night, and for those of you that have been listening to our shows long enough, you know that Impact Showdown Radio always comes on immediately right after Impact goes off the air. And for us, that's 10 p.m. Eastern. That's when we do our show. And unfortunately, the time was just all screwed up. I tried to correct it, but they would not allow me to backtrack. So it was either come on at 10:30 or come on at 11. So I just decided to go on ahead and give Diamond K the night off. I thought that he is just deserving of it. After all, he did mad overtime on our post show, and he did a little bit of overtime on our Tuesday night show. So Diamond, if you're listening, buddy, hope you're enjoying your jump start to the weekend. Hopefully the workload won't be that much on you now that you don't have to do a show tonight. However, this show is going to be very short. Those of you that have come to love Impact Showdown Radio, you know usually we go at it about an hour plus, 90 minutes strong. This is going to be a really short episode because we have our website right now that is just going goo gaga crazy. Myself and a couple of other team members are working on the site right now, trying to fix it. So for those of you that have been visiting our site within the past 3 hours, we humbly apologize for any screw-ups that you're seeing, as we know the design is just all wrong on different type of browsers. We're trying to fix it right now. We should have it be corrected within the wee hours of the night. I would say definitely sometime before 2 o'clock in the morning, we should have it fixed. So without any further ado, just bearing all that in mind, hey, let's go on ahead and let's talk wrestling. Alright, so tonight was the return of Impact Wrestling Live as it came to us from Corpus Christi, Texas. They've been hyping up this show for a good amount of weeks now, and for very good reason, as our main event match was the Full Metal Mayhem between Do You Know My Name? Bully Ray, as he took on the charismatic Enigma Jeff Hardy. And folks, as Bully Ray says it best, when you ride with aces and eights, you never walk alone. Sounds like a very interesting slogan to use for all those victims that just keep getting harassed as they're jogging around Central Park, doesn't it? You never walk alone when you're with Aces and Nicks. Every time I hear that, I can't help but chuckle and just think about a bunch of guys escorting a jogger or an old lady across the street or an old lady to her house, trying to help her with her groceries. I just be thinking all kinds of crazy crap. Don't mind me, folks. But the main event match, we really didn't have that many matches tonight. Grand total, we had about maybe 4 matches that I can recall off the break. And, I must admit that from a production value standpoint, tonight's episode overall was definitely good. The main event match, it did not disappoint. Brooke Hogan was going to be at ringside for this, most likely, and sure enough, she was. And her interaction with Bully Ray, man, she is just really kind of channeling a little bit of those nasty manners that he has, just giving him a big old fat middle finger. I like how they didn't even blur that out on Spike TV. They just let that bad boy run right with it. I'm like, okay, that's how we're gonna do this. Okay, let's go. But to see the controversial way that the match had ended there, myself and Diamond K, we've been saying for a couple of weeks now, when the hell is Taz gonna do something that can really help benefit Aces and Eights? He's always just kicking back. He's just commentating. He's not getting physical. He's not really getting involved with them. When is he going to do something? Well, finally, we see Taz do a little something, which was slide a little small mallet into the hands of Bully Ray so that he could use it on Jeff Hardy. And did he use that bad boy, as in the end, those final seconds, both men climbing on top of the ladder, Jeff Hardy reaching. He is just inches away from grabbing that title and pulling it down, becoming a new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, or basically getting back what's rightfully his. When Bully Ray just dips into his waist, pulls out that mallet, wham, upside the head, and Jeff Hardy goes crashing down on the wooden tables. Bully Ray, nobody to stop him, grabs the strap, and that is it, as he and his Aces and Eights brothers kick on back and they celebrate in style. As post-match, Bully grabs that microphone and once again saying those infamous words, when you're with Aces and Eights, you never walk alone. How fitting is that, and this match, you talk about what had led up to this, as Bully Ray had just implored with his brothers to not get involved in this match, that he wanted to beat Jeff Hardy mano a mano, and his brothers vowed that they were not going to get involved in this match. But hey, Taz, kind of realizing there was a little bit of danger there, hey, he did what any longtime buddy of Bully Ray would do and kind of gave him a little assist. I think that this was a nice little touch. I mean, for guys like me, and I'm sure maybe on a few other shows that you guys might have heard, I'm sure that you've probably heard your share of the critique that Taz has been getting, the criticism for not really being that incorporated into Aces and Eights. This was for sure a nice little touch. I just can't help but wonder what's going to happen the next week. Is Jeff Hardy going to try to get in the face of Taz? I would like to kind of see something like that play off. I would like to kind of see it get to that point where Jeff Hardy gets his hands on Taz and maybe he kind of roughs him up just a little bit. I'm sure Taz could kind of take a little push, maybe a little bit of slapping around, not in a girly type of way, not to make Taz look like he's a punk bitch or anything, but I'm sure Taz can get just a little bit physical long enough for other Aces and Eights members to come out and give Hardy a beatdown. I would love to see something like that happen. I think that would be badass. I know, dream on, it's probably not going to happen, but hey, we can dream, right? Right. So, good main event match that we had right there. And as I was seeing all this play out, as I saw Jeff Hardy look like maybe he was going to try to climb up that ladder first and go for that title, I'm thinking to myself, oh wow, Is this possibly going to be the moment now where we see Brooke Hogan get involved? Is she going to try to cause Jeff Hardy the win right here? And I just couldn't help but think about Diamond. I mean, he's been saying it for weeks, and if you've been listening to the show on Thursday nights, you know how passionate Diamond feels about Brooke Hogan eventually showing her true colors and pretty much being the head honcho, the brains, if you will, behind the whole aces and eights. And the tease, the seeds, man, it was there, but it didn't get executed that way tonight. But still, I love the way that it ended. You just can't help but wonder, oh my God, is there anyone that could possibly stop this force known as aces and eights? Speaking of aces and eights, once again, the $1,000,000 question, what's going on with AJ Styles? Is he interested in aces and eights? Is he going to join up with them? What exactly is going on with this new and dark and mysterious AJ Styles that has been resurfacing as of late? Well, Hulk Hogan, he called out AJ Styles tonight, and the phenomenal one, he had a lot of explaining to do as the Hulkster wanted to know just where his allegiance was. Was it alongside Team Hogan, Team TNA, fighting the good fight against aces and eights, or what? But before AJ Styles could even answer, once again, we hear the music of one cowboy, James Storm, who interrupts AJ trying to talk once again and says to him he is not out to hear about ultimatums or hear about which side AJ is on. He is there for a fight. And James Storm was a fixing for a fight, as he did not even have a beer bottle in hand, folks. Well, before we could even see these two guys throw it down, we actually saw a cameo by Daniels and Kazarian, and they brought up a very interesting twist to this new storyline here with AJ Styles. They basically told AJ, look, Hulk Hogan, he wants you on Team Hogan because his back is up against the wall. This war he has with the aces and eights, he is losing it big time, and he knows that he needs a guy like you to try to help even up the odds, but he really doesn't care about you. It's all about him and what he wants, what's best for Hogan. Then they flip the script on aces and eights. They say, hey, no doubt, aces and eights, they are doing it right and trying to recruit you. It makes a lot of dollars and cents because, after all, you are one of the TNA originals. You've been here since day one. Who better to side with aces and eights than one of TNA's own favorites? But then they put a very interesting twist to everything that they were saying. They offer AJ Styles a spot with them, folks. They told AJ to hear them out, as unlike Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan, they have never rejected AJ Styles. They've never given up on him. And so they offer him a spot, a nice little weak approach to try to get AJ over to their side. But once again, we see AJ Styles quiet, aces and eights vest in hand. All he can do is just take his vest, walk out the ring. Once again, Hulk Hogan upset, James Storm upset. Hulk Hogan, he had enough of this walking away silent treatment crap. He actually told AJ Styles that next week on Impact, he will be going one-on-one with the cowboy, James Storm. So, there you have it, folks. AJ Styles looks like at this point he will be making his in-ring return next week, or so we are led to believe. Very interesting development that is continuing to build on AJ Styles, and I just love how the writers have just been playing with this whole which side is AJ on, which way is he going to go. I love how they just keep spoon feeding us week after week. It's intriguing as hell. I've really been enjoying the way this story has been playing out, quite honestly, and I just love the new injection that it's been putting into the Aces and Eights stable. We're still talking about Aces and Eights, boys and girls, where next week, major right here. We actually did see a brief cameo by the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. We had a very interesting talk with the TNA general manager, as next week he's going to be taking on Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Odds not in the favor of the Olympic gold medalist, but hey, it's two rookies that he's basically taking on. Is he going to have their number? Well, we're going to find out next week. Tag team titles was on the line, as it was a best 2 out of 3 falls match for those titles. We saw the team of Chavo, Guerrero, and Hernandez defeat Bobby Roode and Austin Aries to become the new tag champions. Now, the first fall, within seconds, it automatically went to Bobby Roode and Austin Aries, as they did a little bit of shenanigans to help set up the first win. But then quickly we saw the team of Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez pick up the next fall. And then after that, our match was actually on. And you know what? I was actually quite pleased with this tag match. I know, boys and girls, we've been very critical of Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez on a weekly basis. But, tonight at least, it seemed like they really brought their best A game. Maybe because they were performing in front of their home crowds there in Texas. Who knows? They are from the area. Maybe that's what kind of made them have a little bit of extra till they step in tonight. But I really had enjoyed this tag match. I love the fact that it kicked off the show, honestly. I don't quite like the fact that Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez are the tag champions. And I definitely would like to get you all's thoughts on this. If you're a little bit tired of seeing Chavo Guerrero and Hernandez with the tag titles, definitely share your thoughts by commenting below. You can also interact with us by hitting us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. We also got a new Twitter handle over at the RCWR Show. Feel free to hit us up on there and let us know your thoughts on this. But overall, damn good match to start off Impact. Oh, we had got a great eye candy segment of the night, as we saw the beautiful and the blonde vacious bombshell Miss Taryn Terrell in action as she took on Miss Gail Kim. I know you all are probably wondering, for those of you that didn't watch Impact tonight, I don't suppose Joey Ryan was the referee for this one. No, actually, Joey Ryan was not, and we'll talk about Joey Ryan in just a few seconds. But the new referee, I don't know if it's permanent, but for this particular match, we had actually got ODB. Notice right here, she didn't have the TNA Tag Knockout title. What's going on here? But in either case, it's all about the focus of her being a referee for this match. Can't really break down how Taryn was as far as the offense, as really it was all about Kim getting her over. And Gail Kim, if you've been watching her for years, you know how much of a phenomenal athlete that she is in that ring. One of the best in-ring technicians for a female wrestler that the TNA company has for their knockout division, that is. But I thought it was a damn good, solid match. And shockingly, we saw Miss Taryn Terrell pick up the victory. And actually, let me retract that. That's not shockingly, because right now it seems like the upper brass in TNA, they've got a soft spot for Taryn right now. Remember, it kind of goes as far back as when she had first signed up with the company. On a weekly basis, she was always on there in between post shows there. When Impact would take a commercial break, you could just hop on to YouTube or Impact Wrestling's website, and she would be doing the whole, similar to what WWE's doing with their little WWE Raw Active. TNA had that whole little thing going on first. Let's give props where it's due. And she would be talking with Jeremy Borash, interviewing different people. Then she would participate in the Impact post show, and And, so it doesn't really surprise me that the upper brass finally went on ahead and they pulled the trigger and they made her go on ahead and start wrestling. And it doesn't surprise me that she had picked up the win over Gail Kim. Of course, this rivalry between her and Kim is definitely not over by a long shot. But man, I just love the colors that Miss Taryn was wearing. I mean, every time I see her, past couple of weeks now with this attire, I just keep thinking about Skittles and rainbows and all that good stuff. She kind of looks like a modified version of a American Gladiator from the 80s almost, with the way the color scheme goes in her outfit. It's pretty ridiculous. And I like it. I love my knockouts. Let me just tell you that right now. But you already knew that. Moving along, we were talking about Joey Ryan. Yeah, it turns out Joey Ryan, and he tried to slither his way into calling another match as he talked briefly with Brooke Hogan way before the main event match had went down. Brooke had told him that she wasn't satisfied with his refereeing last week, and he basically made a fool out of her, made a joke out of the match, and as a result of that, he was going to be in action, and he would end up facing Big Rob Terry. Rob Terry coming out to some kick-ass, sound like some daggone, I don't know if it was Slayer or what. He came out to some nice metal music. Yeah, I know some folks, they pay attention very closely to the TNA music and they say, man, it all just sounds the same. Like the same artist is just making all their cuts. This one actually sounds unique on its own. And poor Joey Ryan, he just did not have a chance against Rob Terry, as this was pretty much a squash match. This was done in like about 120 seconds. Nice to see the continued push, singles push that is, of Big Rob T. Other action that we had saw tonight on Impact, we saw Joseph Park cut a very short promo telling the Impact crowd that he had drawn up divorce papers in preparation and anticipation for Bully Ray losing the tag titles, and he would basically present it to Brooke, get her to sign, and basically he said he could do this in a way where whether Bully Ray wanted to sign the papers or not, he could set it up so that the divorce can't go down. But we ended up seeing Devon interrupt Joseph as he was talking, tore up the papers, and warned him to stay out of family business. Joseph tried to pick up the papers and Devon just attacked him. Cheap shots right here. Ended up leaving him laid out on the ground. No doubt probably next week we're probably going to see Joseph Park want to try to get a fight against Devon. Hey, you knew it's that time, TNA gut check. Remember we had that great match between Adam Pearce and Magno week before. Well, this week it was voting time, and the judges, they were very critical on this one, as this week nobody got a TNA wrestling contract. No. Let's set this up properly for you guys. They ended up eliminating Adam Pearce. The argument was pretty much made that Adam Pearce, he's been around for 17 years. Some folks can kind of look at that as a good thing, that he has the experience. Other people can kind of look at that as a bad thing and wonder, with 17 years under his belt, why hasn't he broken it? Well, why hasn't he made it to the big leagues yet? Good question. On the other hand, some of the timing in his match was just way off, and the judges, some of them, they didn't like what they were seeing. Magno, on the other hand, they realized that young man had a lot of potential, already has a respectable background, and luchador. He's a underground sensational hit, so to speak, to a certain extent. So Adam Pearce, he got eliminated. Came time for Magno to find out if he was going to be getting a TNA wrestling gut check, and his dreams were shattered. And I like the way that they had did this. Usually when you get a no, Jeremy Borash, she says, okay, Magno, here's your chance to try to tell the judges why you feel they should let you into the organization, why you should get that contract. Go ahead and kick out. Well, I didn't really like that whole thing when it came down to two judges saying whatever, and then you know what I'm talking about, folks. Like usually you get a no, then a yes, and then it goes, okay, well the next judge, they have to either say yes or whatever if you want the contract, but they switched it up this time. So this go round we hear one no, and then Magno was given the chance to kick out. The decision ultimately was on Bruce Pritchard, who said, yes, you are young. I do see great markability in you, but right now have to say no. And it looked like it was a tough one for Pritchard, but it seemed like in this case, they actually, for this week at least, listened to the TNA crowd and went with what they were hearing and did not offer this young man a contract. But both guys, Magno, Adam Pearce, they are going to be just fine. Have you gone to Adam Pearce's Facebook page? If not, my God, the man has independent wrestling bookings like all the way up until I believe November of this year. I mean, he's a hot commodity, man. Will be all right. Magno will be all right as well. And folks, I mean, that was pretty much it with regards to Impact Wrestling tonight. I mean, it was really, really, really short. This was nothing more than a build-up of the main event match and also setting up what's going to be going down on next week's Impact Wrestling. Now, we already had set it up properly for you guys, but just in case you wanted to hear some of what's going to be happening next week, again, we're going to have Kurt Angle in a handicap match against Wes Briscoe, Garrett Bischoff. That should be a damn good matchup right there. Next up, we have a number one contenders match where the winner will get to take on the TNA Knockouts champion for that title. And that number one contenders match is going to be between the beautiful and lovely hardcore country herself, Mickie James, as she takes on the beautiful and lovely Miss Tess Mocker. I miss Miss Tess Mocker. God, I need my fix, man. It always sucks when I don't see her on Impact Wrestling. I could go a week, but man, when you start talking 2-3 weeks there, I think that's a crime. And also, let's not forget, we got the Cowboy James Storm. He's going to be taking on AJ Styles. Don't be too surprised if we may see some type of shenanigans go down in that particular match. Really wouldn't surprise me one bit if Aces and Eights maybe got involved, try to help him get the victory, and basically kind of put out there, hey, this is what you can expect if you join Aces and Eights. You'll never walk alone. So don't really be too surprised if maybe we might see Aces and Eights come to the help of AJ in that match. And, very interesting note I need to point out to you guys, and I can't believe I almost had missed this. It's almost slipped my mind, too. We saw Hulk Hogan get jacked up verbally by the Blueprint Matt Morgan, who had took notice of all the crap that's just been going down within recent months. And he gave a warning to Hulk Hogan. He told him, he said, you know what? I told you, Hogan. I told you that you should have went with me. You should have made me be the number one contender at Lockdown. None of this would have never happened. Aces and Eights, none of this would be a problem for you right now. But you like to do things on your own. You don't like to listen to anybody but yourself. Hogan mistakes is what you do. And Matt Morgan basically told him, he said, sooner or later, all your mistakes are going to pile up and they're going to come crashing over you big time. And just chilling words right there, as we just saw an intimidated Hulk Hogan, just at a loss for words, just shaken up by the Blueprint Matt Morgan. And hey, just keep those cameos coming. I don't mind Matt Morgan not being involved in any matches, but just keep doing what they are doing with him and Hogan. That just really makes great TV. Once again, we got no appearance by Sting tonight. The question was asked to Hogan by cameramen, what's going on with Sting? Hogan did not comment, but we did not get Sting in the house tonight. Impact Wrestling, when they come back live one week, they usually take that same venue that they're at to tape another episode. So as we speak, another episode of Impact Wrestling is being shot right now for next week. But I would expect Sting to maybe make some type of a cameo, respectively, on that episode. And maybe we can get a little bit more of the Blueprint, Matt Morgan. But, overall, damn good episode tonight. Hey, the crowd reactions, it was pretty good. There's a lot of people in attendance. I was actually paying attention to the camera angles, and this time around they didn't really give us that whole 360 perspective. They kind of just gave us like a 180, but it looked to be pretty jam-packed. I would hope that particular venue, it can hold a lot of people, but they didn't really show us the magnificent shots that they've been showing since they've been hitting the road. Let's go over some quick TNA wrestling news for you guys. There really hasn't been too much that's been going on. I know one of the main things that's being talked about right now, and just take this for what it's worth, but apparently it looks like Slammiversary could be coming to, get this, San Diego, California. Now, just take that for what it's worth, okay? But other than that, as far as other TNA wrestling related news goes, Matt Hardy, former TNA star, he's announced that he and his brother Jeff Hardy's former promotion, Omega, is going to be returning May 25th at the East Wake High School in North Carolina. And so far, only one match has been announced for the event, and it doesn't include Jeff Hardy, actually. And remember, folks, last year, both Matt and Jeff announced they had planned on running semi-regular Omega shows soon. So just bear all that in mind. TNA Gut Check Round 2 voting has now closed, and it looks like Portuguese independent wrestler Shauna has advanced as the winner of Bracket 2 in the TNA Gut Check polls. And once again, I want to give you guys a correction, actually, about that Slammiversary. According to sources, the various wrestling websites, it looks like an unnamed TNA personality had told one of their correspondents during last weekend's WrestleCon that this year's TNA's Bound for Glory pay-per-view will be taking place in San Diego. In case you haven't heard, TNA Wrestling and Delta Airlines, they're teaming up to send lucky fans to the Slammiversary pay-per-view in Boston. And one lucky winner is going to have one cool grand prize, as they'll get a round-trip airfare for two on Delta Airlines to Boston, including 2 Delta Sky Club passes, 3 nights hotel accommodations, 2 guests, that'll be from May 31st through June 2nd, VIP reception, meet and greet May 31st, 2 passes to the Slammiversary fan interaction event on June 1st, the Saturday evening VIP event, now that's to be determined, but that's going to be on June 1st, Sunday morning breakfast with select TNA superstars on June 2nd. Oh, here's the big one of all, meet and greet with the icon Sting that same day that you're having breakfast. Also, 2 front row tickets to the Slammiversary event at the Agganis Arena, and 2 Slammiversary prize packs featuring Slammiversary 2013 t-shirts, TNA wrestling programs, and action figures. Now, if you want to enter that contest, you better get a jump start on it now and head on over to TNA's website over at ImpactWrestling.com, and they will give you all the information that you will need. And former TNA knockout Rosita, just in case you guys might not know, she recently had cleared the air up about her recent departure from TNA. Fan had asked her on Twitter what had went down, and she basically said, and this is a direct quote right here, "TNA didn't release me. My contract expired. Mutually agreed not to re-up my deal. Loved my time there. Amazing friends and memories." That's it. Enough said. So let me just tell you guys straight up that coming up this weekend on our RCWR show, you know how we do it over there. It's our weekend edition. We cover all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond. You know how we like to hook you up over there. Make sure you check that out. We're going to have a review of the new 12-12-12 CD that had came out not too long ago. Give you guys a cool review for that. We're also going to talk about all kinds of crazy stuff, as I want to pinpoint a couple of key segments that had went down from Raw, and you know how we do it over there on the weekend edition. So make sure that you check that out. We always have a blast over there. Our weekend editions of all the shows, that's definitely our most strongest, and we love just diving into all types of talk. We're going to talk Ring of Honor. We're going to take a look at the card coming up for the next Shine Wrestling pay-per-view. We're going to talk Extreme Rising. They've been making headlines. You know how we do it over there, so make sure you check it out this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also, quick programming note, next Thursday night on Impact Showdown Radio, we're actually going to be joined by an independent wrestler that's been making his waves, as he respectfully had entered the TNA Gut Check voting contest, and he's been doing fairly well in the first bracket, and he's going to be coming by the show and talk about his time as a wrestler, share some really cool stories with us, and he's going to share with you all his upbringings and why he's trying to make it big in TNA wrestling. And folks, it's the one and only, the Omaha Chainsaw himself. That's right, the Omaha Chainsaw, SM King. He's going to be joining us on next Thursday's Impact Showdown Radio. And that is not the only guest that we have in store for you all in the coming weeks. There's a few people that I am currently in negotiations with to try to see if they could come on by the show, and it's been going very well. I just got to stay on top of them. I'll share with you all the news as soon as I know the very latest on what all is going to be going on. In the meantime, folks, talk of wrestling, it may end here, but be kind, rewind. Any episodes that you might have missed, check it out in the iTunes, Stitcher marketplaces. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. You can also access us on your PlayStation, Xbox, just by grabbing that YouTube app, and you can search for us from there, the RCWR Show. Great way to stream all our episodes, and you get really cool enhanced audio, pretty much like what you're hearing right now. That's going to do it, folks. I hope you guys have a pretty fun and safe weekend, and we will see you guys this Saturday. If not, you know we got you guys hooked up for our WWE Raw post show exclusive to YouTube. And then me and Diamond K will be back Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern to cover the fallout from WWE Raw, and we'll also go over the very latest in wrestling headlines. You know how we do it on that Tuesday night edition, so make sure you check all those great shows out that we got coming up. Alright, that's going to do it. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You all be safe, be kind to one another. Thank you so much for checking out this episode. If it was your first time checking it out and you enjoyed the TNA coverage, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never, ever miss out, as we post a lot of exclusives from time to time. We are one of the most passionate channels that you will come across when it comes to covering wrestling in the most respectable way. We never try to consistently bash on a particular product or a wrestler, not unless they're really doing a lot of jacked up stuff, quite honestly. But we're one of the most passionate and consistent uploaders on YouTube that tries to provide the best wrestling coverage that we can without all the bullshit, all the hype, just honest feedback, honest analysis, honest news. So we hope you appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, leave those comments. All right, everybody, be safe, be kind to one another. Take care.